Welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we have a very informational video for everyone, and that is going to be the most budget Executor counter. The Executor is still a very, very real part of the meta. It is the best fleet in the entire game, and with the shift to needing 3 fleets on defense and all of Kyber, it makes this fleet so much more challenging because in the olden days, back when we only had 2 fleets on defense, you had a very comfortable way of 2 or 3 or even 4-shotting an Executor. Nowadays, this is just not the case, and if you have a more limited roster like myself, like I do not have every single fleet, I do not have Radis, I don't have Ray, so I don't have that fleet built up. I have to essentially be able to one-shot, and that's going to be a little tricky when we get into this video, all the fleets to even have a chance at a full clear, because if they're consistently full clearing me, and I can't full clear them, I'm going to lose every time. We're making this video now because it can only be tested in GAC because of our strategy, and just because we've had a huge amount of success with it. We've tried it under various scenarios, and we'll get to those. We do have footage, and on top of that, we've tried it against max fleets, and with what we're working with, it is truly very, very budget. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it a little bit. What are the requirements for this? And I find this hilarious, but this is how I'm going to word it. First requirement, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Not exactly what you would expect to hear when talking about a ship counter. The reason why he's listed in there is because that is really what you need. If you have Jedi Master Luke, you have all the requirements for this. You need Han and Chewie at R6. Jedi Master Luke gets you there. You need the Y-Wing. Jedi Master Luke gets you there. You need R3 Biggs. Jedi Master Luke gets you there. So if you have that character, you have all the requirements, at least in that part, that are required. Next 2 things kind of go hand in hand. If you haven't already told from the way that we're talking about this, you are going to have to use a burner fleet. I know that that is kind of a deal breaker for some people, especially very high efficiency players, but it is necessary to get this to work at the really low gear levels that we're currently working with. You have to have a spare capital ship. I know that is a problem for some people because they only have 6 capital ships period, so they don't have an extra mace or an extra Haldo because those fleets are actually real fleets for them. And then you have to have 20 banners to spare. That just kind of goes hand in hand with the burner. Just a little description on what a burner is. This is something we use in some fights where you will literally just throw in a fleet or a team to burn the enemy team's cooldowns and to get rid of all their turn meter so that it's like they're handicapped when they come into the fight. And then last but not least, Akbar needs to be gear 12. I don't know if that's a hard rec. I'm only putting that in there is because that is what I have Akbar at, and I know he works there. He might work at gear 11. I cannot say for sure, so best to gear 12 him up. So those are the requirements, and we'll get into the strategy just a little bit, but I want to pull up our game footage here first. So let's go ahead and cut this out. So yeah, here, not the game footage, but our actual requirements, just to show everyone this is exactly what we're working with. Again, R6 on Han and Chewie here. We have an R3 Wedge. We have an R3 Biggs. Phoenix is pretty bad. Really, you don't need a whole lot on here. We have a Gear 11 Hera. These abilities aren't maxed because our Zeb and Kanan are under geared. Pretty much the same exact story here. Ezra's Gear 11. Nobody else is there. Y-Wing does need to be maxed. Quick note, upgrade the reinforcement ability all the way. Even though he is going to be in the starting lineup, for whatever reason, the pilotless ships actually get a slight stat boost from having the reinforcement upgraded, so make sure to do that. We will not be using Biston at all, so you can completely disregard him. Cassian can pretty much just exist as long as this reinforcement ability is maxed. That's really all we need. And like we said, we have Gear 12 Akbar here with all the abilities. You do not need Outrider. As you can see, we have not been using him. And that's pretty much as far as the rest goes. So let's go ahead and get to the general strategy of this. Pulling this back up here. So those are the requirements, the general strategy. This is very important. This is the #1 mistake that when I've talked through with people about how to do this, the burner fleet must drain cooldowns and TM. If you do not do both of these things, this will not work, and it will probably fail horrendously to the point where you didn't kill any ships and you burned your entire rebel fleet. So that is a huge bummer. Next thing off, this is really simple. Don't AoE in the very beginning because you need Xanadu Blood to be dead. If you crit someone else, he goes into stealth and you're kind of hosed. You need to control the field with Phoenix. This is very weird for anyone who's used Rebels competitively because typically you want to call in Cassian first to rip off whatever buffs it is to get around to the target you need. This is not the case for this fleet. This fleet needs as much firepower as possible, and that is only done by getting in the 2 Phoenix fleets ships really quickly because of the nature of the reinforcement abilities. They let you get in things a lot quicker. Watch cooldowns for Shield Disruptor. This is important because the Houndstooth has many ways to reduce or to cleanse that, and then leave Houndstooth for last if possible. It's just not a threat, and the Rebel fleet has a ton of ways to get around Houndstooth. It is quite astonishing and really, really cool, at least if everything is gone. So that is pretty much the overall strategy for that. So let's go ahead and get our video started here. All right, so here is the video getting into the actual footage. I'm going to rewind here just for a second so you guys can see what we're doing. So we use Radis as our burner fleet. This is not a must. Whatever fleet that you can take in that can perfectly bring down, again, all their cooldowns and restart their TM, that'll work. And you'll see that the Executor comp that we're going up against here is the non-Houndstooth variant. This works against both. We have footage of both, and the latter footage is against a full R8, R9 team. So we're going to go ahead and get into this first one. And like I said, this is exactly what you need to do every single time. This can be a mace fleet. This can be, let's say you don't have Finalizer fully developed, like you just have like a Gear 7 Hux, you can take that in as well. They're going to come in, they're going to AoE, do whatever, kill everyone. And this one, RNG magically, I don't even know if it's RNG if it's just this guy's relic levels, but it magically aligns for us to the point where this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. All 4 ships, the Capital and the 3 fleet ships, they all used all their abilities and pretty much ended on 0 turn meter. So now we're going to come back in with our rebels. Again, these are the exact same rebels that I just showed you guys previously with their respective gear levels. And we want to start double tank. That is how you want to do this. I don't know if Biston can work here if I hire Geared. I don't have him. That's not how this is run. But I really do think you want double tank because the whole goal of this is for the enemy fleet to split hits between both of your tanks in the very beginning, because if they go right after our Millennium Falcon, this can end very poorly. And I'm just checking to make sure we're not taking in Biston, we're taking in Cassian. So again, I'm gonna take this in. One very important thing is to not go ahead and AoE with the Millennium Falcon right away. I actually really like the Millennium Falcon's defense penetration. I think it's a great tool to have. But if you do that and you crit the other 2, then Xanadu Blood goes into stealth and you're stuck either behind Razor Crest, who has a kind of a savior mechanic, as well as IG 1000, or is it 2000? I don't remember. He has a way to heal himself back up because the whole point of this team is to just control the field. You have to kill them faster than they can kill you. So, and this is great. I love the AI change they did to Executor, because that's not super prevalent in this fight, but it's very prevalent in the other fight. So you can see Xanadu Blood already starting stealth here, so we were able to open up with our AoE and get the defense penetration. And even with our super low gear here, we are able to pretty much cut right through Xanadu Blood in the very beginning. And I don't get greedy here. Play this smart. Don't always play smart, but I played this smart. The AoE was not going to be enough to kill Xanadu Blood. We had to commit to him. We couldn't try to budge or damage. Don't use Shield Disruptor until Houndstooth comes in. Shield Disruptor is for Houndstooth. It is not for anything else. You got to get that into your head. So now we're stuck behind Houndstooth, and this is actually very easy to not get stuck behind Houndstooth because the Millennium Falcon constantly is cleansing your team whenever they get 3 debuffs, and the team has quite a few debuffs. So again, don't get greedy with like Biston or something like that. Commit to using Phoenix, get them in, control the field. And now the enemy team is just really in a very tight spot where we've already taken out 2 of their reinforcements, or 2 of their ships rather, and we're about to get every single character on the field. So this is really, really good. We're able to get the Ghost in and call Millennium Falcon to assist, get everyone down. And again, they have a fair amount of debuffs. We go ahead and use the Shield Disruptor, I think, here. And again, you have to watch the cooldowns with this because either one of Houndstooth's abilities will cleanse it, and the Executor also has multiple abilities that cleanse it. So you can see that's not a huge deal breaker. That's not the end of the world that we didn't get it to stick. It does, however, change things a little bit. So they were able to take out our Y-Wing. Not that big of a deal. We kill the Razor Crest, and at this point, they just really can't get ahead. It is a lot harder for them to control things with just Houndstooth. And even when they bring in Slave 1, the Millennium Falcon just loves Slave's 1 reinforcement ability, because all it is a bunch of buffs, and then you get rid of them. Again, we got the cleanse because of the Millennium Falcon's kit. We're now able to bring in Cassian. I believe it's Cassian we bring in. We might actually bring in Wedge. No, we bring in Wedge for this one, for the buff immunity, because the buff immunity is kind of like a pseudo shield disruptor. It doesn't count out their protection, but it does keep the bonus protection from coming back. So we go ahead and bring in him again. He's R3. He has nothing special. I do not believe he even has 60 mods on him. I think he might not have any. But yeah, we take out the Houndstooth pretty immediately. And then at this point, it's just Slave 1, and there's nothing they can do. I think we're about to get ult. If, let's say, we didn't land buff immunity on their Houndstooth, we would have gotten the ult, and then we would have burned their whatchamacallit, their Houndstooth down pretty quickly, even without buff immunity. He can't be burned down if he's the only one there, and if you have a minute. So the next fight that we're going to go ahead and take against, it is against the, I guess, more typical comp for the Executor. And this time we have to play it a little bit differently, and this is why I want to include both of these videos in here. We're going to go ahead and take in our burner fleet, same as usual. And this team is the R8, R9 one. This is the fully maxed one. We've ran this strategy about 8 times between both of the comps that we've seen. We've only had it failed once, and the reason for the fail is we didn't commit to Phoenix. So these aren't just cherry pick battles. If you really want to, go through my GAC history to kind of see, you know, how many times this has worked successfully. So this is really important. Their Executor went, all 3 of their ships went here. They did not kill my ship. And this is everyone's big fail point, is they don't want to wait 4 minutes, which honestly, I get that. Waiting 4 minutes kind of sucks. So what they do is they take the turn with their whatever character is left, or ship is left, and then everyone's turn meter loaded. You come with Millennium Falcon, and they gun down your Millennium Falcon and kill him before you even get a turn. You can't do this. You have to let it time out. This is very, very important for the fleet. So I'm not going to extend this video by 4 minutes and show you it timing out, but it did time out. And now we go back in with the same exact rebel fleet, and you can tell, you can feel the difference. Oh, this is so nice. Okay, so yeah, this is what I was talking about in the other video. The AI is so dumb, man. They have a perfect opportunity to put out taunt for Houndstooth because he's already wasted his own normal taunt through his special ability, and the Executor has a chance to give it to him again, but they never do. They always give Foresight to Razor Crest, which fine. So again, don't AoE in the beginning here. We do not want to burn the stealth, or we don't want to put stealth on Xanadu Blood. And you can tell how much tankier an R8 Cad Bane is than an R5 just by how alive he is by this point. But still, we commit to him through and through. He has to go down. You got to control the field. I've said it a million times. They're going to go ahead and bring in Slave 1 now. Really not that big of a deal. Again, they just have so many debuffs. They just keep on cleansing over and over again. So we go ahead and hit Slave 1 just for the fun of it. I don't want him countering. They don't have Breach out because, again, we keep cleansing, so we're able to take this down. Commit to Phoenix. Don't take in Cassian. Don't take in Wedge. You need to get more characters on the field than they have on the field. And even with Millennium Falcon only assisting 50% of the time, if you have 4 other characters there, it'll even out and you'll get there. So again, we go ahead and take out their Slave 1 just to get him out of the way. Now we're going to work on Razor Crest. We typically leave Razor Crest second to last if we had the possibility, just because he survives pretty well. We're trying just to get kills at this point. Again, we get in our 5th ship when they only have 2 there, and we're saving our big hits for Houndstooth. Are not on Houndstooth just because we know we can't really get anywhere with Shield Disruptor, and we've learned from our mistakes in the previous battle. Not going to use Shield Disruptor here. Why? Because the Executor is at full turn meter, and he has his AoE charge, which means Houndstooth is going to be called to assist, and when he's called to assist, he's going to cleanse whatever we had on him. So we held the Shield Disruptor there. That was really nice. Now we can just go ahead and use the AoE because, you know, why not? We're going to be able to call in our Millennium Falcon, cleanse everything off, and now we have a clear shot at killing the Razor Crest. Now we get through the Razor Crest's survivor thing. We were able to call in the Millennium Falcon, get him down, and we're pretty much home free from there. They're going to bring in IG, that's their last reinforcement, but they just have not been getting off the necessary debuffs to get to their contract. You can see we didn't burn Shield Disruptor there either because the Millennium Falcon was about to take a turn, and when he does that, he's going to cleanse the Shield Disruptor, and then it's all for naught. Here we just go ahead and cleanse someone. I don't think it really matters who. This match is pretty much wrapped up by this point. I guess they still have a chance if we don't get to kill him with his face. Again, the AI is really stupid with that one move. So now Houndstooth has no turn meter, so he's not going to be able to cleanse it. And the Executor has no turn meter, so we land Shield Disruptor, and Houndstooth goes down. Oh, that was a luxury that we had this round, and now we get to ult. And that is just really all she wrote. We're able to get this. Not a whole lot they can do from there. So we win that fight, and that's pretty much it. That is the strategy. Again, we've had it work a ton of times. This is my main strategy. Without this, we would not be winning as many matches as we have. We're in 3v3 right now, where pretty much everybody is full clearing on the ground, but not everybody's cleared ships, and this is really what has secured the place we have. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to put them down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and until the next time, stay awesome.